Welcome to Club Domingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Good morning, Tim.
Right. Hello, Gary.
How's it
Wow.
going?
Good. How are you?
Fine. I just had a really interesting conversation with you.
Who with? Oh, with me. Can we record this one? Says Gary. I go, no. Unfortunately, we can't.
No. Oh, so much goss. No. It wasn't goss.
Is it goss? No, it's not goss. It's long range planning that involves people who are not on the show who can't like. So yeah.
I don't mean to tease, but there's just shit that goes on that you need to move on with your career and your life, and you have conversations and ideas are processed.
Well, let's tease.
Some are green lit, some are red light. Red light.
I'm happy.
1300 Club Domingo.
We'll have to get that line set up.
Yeah.
No, businessy planning sort of stuff that at this point can't really be talked about on air, but will be eventually if everything goes according to plan. It'll be exciting.
So cool. So how's your week been?
The kiddies at home know that I'm pretty open to talking about my own personal plans. Like I vomited all that stuff about Cupid trying to get the short film to tour around the country, and like that's still ages away in planning as well. And so happy for everyone to know what's going on, as long as it doesn't involve other people.
That's right. Yes. We're not here to gossip, are we?
Aren't we? Are you gonna make a recording to put underneath that?
Hey,
are you cold, Gary? Look at you with your fingerless gloves.
Yeah, I'm cold. A bit cold, yes. Plus, this hand using the stylus for my Wacom that's in front of me slides a lot easier with the woolen mitten on. So,
anyway. What have we got? What have we got in Hobart today? 16 with a top of 17. You're nearly there.
I'll sunbake later on. The sun is out, but there's rain coming. So haven't lit fire yet.
Yeah,
so
we've got the rain now.
You posted a photo or sent a photo of me earlier with you working with your management team, and
that's right.
You got a lovely naturally lit room there. It's lovely looking at the yard into the greenery and stuff. It's lovely.
Yeah, the three of us. You're going to put that up? I'll have to get that okayed through the other members of the team.
Yes, the other members of the party may not appreciate being online, so let us know. And if permission is given, you would have probably seen it already, because I would have.
That's right.
Somewhere around here. Anyway.
Well, it was a morning of admin, all sorts of admin. So yes, I had my management team here with me.
But we're talking in riddles, so we might have to edit a lot of stuff out. So on the weekend, you went somewhere, which was really interesting.
Boy, did I ever. It was amazing. And I'll send you some photos if you don't mind popping them up as well. It was incredible.
Okay.
So not everybody who's at home watching and listening may know the name, but let's call him cartoonist Martin Sharp, because he's more than a cartoonist. Australian cartoonist Martin Sharp passed away, like it's around 10 years ago. And they're only just getting around to doing something with his estate. So his estate equals a very large house, and his collection of pop culturally stuff.
Where was his house? In Bellevue Hill or
Bellevue Hill? That's it. Yeah.
What a memory I've got. For someone as old as I am. Yep.
So it's in that kind of eastern suburbs area near the water, and so there's this really interesting large house in Bellevue Hill in Sydney, and everything that he's collected over the years, which is everything from like beautiful antiques to Pokemon figurines. Like there's and honestly, if you can think of something that would be inside that spectrum, is probably amongst it. And plus some of his own artwork, the work that he's made, plus artwork that he's collected, the international and Australian fine arts. So it was really overwhelming day. Not even a day, it was 2 hours. It felt like it was four. It was just incredible.
So
Room after
it was an
room.
open day or an auction day at his house.
Yeah, so the auctioneers Shapiro um just have everything kind of in the house. So you can come and view the house and you can come and view everything and basically almost everything you can touch unless it's inside a cabinet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we were looking at these 150-year-old antique toys and stereoscope, which is the old kind of 3D glasses that you would wear with a postcard that's in stereo for optical stereo.
Because he was very much
Um,
a pop culture collector as well.
yeah.
He was a one of the co-founders of Oz magazine in Australia.
Yeah. So what do you know about Martin Sharp? Because you probably know more about it already. I had to do the research before I went. I knew a bit, but very little compared to what
My
you know.
knowledge is limited, but I know him as a Sydney-based artist. He's very much in love with Sydney as a city. He was heavily involved in Luna Park and the restoration of Luna Park and the efforts to not let it fall, that land to fall into the wrong hands for developers.
Yeah.
So he was into repainting and refurbishing the park, Sydney's Luna Park, as authentically as it can be over the years. And so he was very strident in his opposition to the development of that land on the foreshore underneath the harbour bridge.
Mm.
So he comes from an arts activist background,
Yeah.
and I was refreshing my knowledge of Martin Sharp when he appeared, or his house appeared, on that documentary that I told you about, the
Yeah.
Luna Fire. What was that
Yeah.
called again?
Exposed.
Exposed. It was a
Yeah.
two-part, I think,
The
documentary
ghost train fire.
about the Ghost Train fire in 1977. I think.
Mm.
Anyway, so so he had his thoughts on that, and he was building a file of what really happened and who was responsible for it and what should have happened as far as
Yeah.
Australian policing, Australian politics at the time, underworld figures, the whole thing. He had his
Yeah.
theories as to what was behind the Ghost Train fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember him as an artist first, primarily as a contributor and co-publisher or founder of Oz magazine, which went for many, many, many years. Which I think if you Google online now, there's actually an archive where you can read all the old Oz magazines online. I think if you
Right.
dig far enough in, you can find that archive somewhere. And yeah, he was very much a Sydney first kind of artist. Although I'm
Mm.
sure he probably had his time over in London, like with the Jermaine Greers of the world when they were younger, doing their thing.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's my summary
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
who and what he is.
When you Google him, kiddies at home, and look at the imagery, it's all very pop art kind of inspired and not even inspired because he was on the leading edge of that whole pop art thing. One of the short documentaries I watched recently talked about how psychedelic a lot of his work was. There was a lot of psychedelia in it, and the person said, and that wasn't even a term yet when he was actually doing the artwork, which is now being termed as being psychedelic. The term psychedelic was not really a thing that was associated with that yet. So that's how like cutting edge he was in that regard.
Mm.
But yeah, he studied art at the National Art School in Sydney. And I think it was while I was still there, him and two other mates started Oz magazine, which was a satirical magazine, very politically satirical. And I believe it was like from the first issue that they were already arrested because of how, like for indecency and stuff like that. So it was pretty full on. So yeah, he had a lot of he did a lot of like political activism as well.
Yeah.
And they did that here in Australia, and you would call that now, you would call that a zine because it was in black and white. It was mostly was not typeset. It was either handwritten or typewritten. And then the three of them took that to England for a while and did Oz UK or something like that,
Right.
and started the color version. And that's when his psychedelic artwork really took off, and he was starting to meet people who were in the music business and did a number of psychedelic posters. The famous one is a Bob Dylan one, Mr. Tambourine Man. But then some interesting things happen. This is like the 50s, 60s, 70s thing about being an Australian and doing your time in England, which so many artists in whatever kind of art form you were involved in would go and do your time in England and then maybe come home again. But you would just, your mind would be blown by the art scene and the social scene there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Germaine Greer. So she lived in the same house that that Sharp did while they were doing Oz UK,
Hmm.
and she was riding the female eunuch at the time. So she was downstairs, and again, according to the documentaries, Sharp had the entire top floor of this three-story house as his kind of art studio. But he was, again, everything that I've kind of seen from him, he was a very giving person. It was like always communal, and people could come in and utilize the space and whatnot. But the other person who lived there and was basically, it was Sharp's roommate, was Eric Clapton, as in
What?
from Cream. That's right. So he lived with Eric Clapton. So there's these interviews with Eric Clapton talking about Martin Sharp and how deep a relationship they had, and they were, just how great they got on.
Right.
And I'm not a huge Cream kind of aficionado, but the second album, which I believe is like one of the quintessential Cream albums, Sharp co-wrote one of the songs, did the
Oh,
lyrics for one of the
oh,
songs. Him and Clapton did it, and then yeah, Sharp did album covers for that album and the third album. So
right.
yeah, really ensconced there for a while.
Was Clive James one of the gang floating around at that time?
It's funny, I don't think his name came up at any point. But yeah, you would think so, hey.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think so. And Barry Humphries.
no, his name actually didn't come up either. The name of the other quite famous person that was involved with Oz is an Australian kind of writer and somebody who
Raconteur.
yeah, a commentator of society and stuff like that. I'm so bad with remembering names at the best of times. So it's a name I recognize, but I've forgotten it already. So yeah, really interesting time in London, and he only stayed there for like 3 years. It's not like he stayed there for a decade or anything, and he came back. And like you said, I think because he's so enamored with Sydney. So, he's a screen printer, and he's a printmaker and a painter, and a filmmaker. He would do all sorts of different things. So yeah, really, really amazing. So the whole thing with Luna Park was fantastic. So it looked like Luna Park was going to be sold to basically the Sydney Mafia. So Abe Saffron was, the guy who wanted it. He owned nightclubs and
Allegedly.
yeah, because that was in the Exposed documentary, right? They actually talk about that. It's not even a documentary. It's a news expose.
Yeah.
Um,
Well worth watching.
that's really pretty close to the final statement on all of this stuff.
Yeah, but nothing's been officially proven. But it's just a lot of arrows pointing in certain directions, and people can make their own conclusions. But,
yeah. I think I've just jumped the gun a little bit again. So luckily, it didn't end up in Abe Saffron's hands. It ended up in the hands of somebody who actually wanted to continue the park and to revamp it, to invest in it, make it a place to come to again. So Martin Sharp basically became the art director of the revamp. So he didn't do all the artwork. There were other artists involved, but he was definitely the vision for it. And he redesigned the face, the laughing mouth that you walk through. And again, I haven't looked into it specifically, but I'm pretty sure he didn't just repaint it. I'm pretty sure they built a brand new one based on what he drew.
There was a lot of because Luna Park was essentially a wooden built theme park. There was a lot of safety issues that after a certain amount of time, things like the ghost train would have had to have been rebuilt anyway, but or refurbished, and the roller coaster and things like that. And at the end, what do they call it? The building at the end,
Coney Island.
Yeah, Coney Island. A lot of the material in there would have to be rebuilt or refurbished in a big way for safety reasons.
It's definitely. I've been to Luna Park a number of times, like lots, but it really made me want to go back again and spend another day there and just look at all of. It's just beautiful with all the cartoons on the walls, and some of it is from the 80s and some of it's from the 20s, and it really is lovely. So so he really loves Luna Park and does all this work for Luna Park, and it's great. And at the same time, he obviously got obsessions. He got obsessed with stuff, and one of his obsessions was Tiny Tim, right? The
That's right.
musician from America,
Yeah, yeah.
tiptoed through the tulips and all of that. They Eric Clapton introduced him to Tiny Tim while they were in London, and it supposedly blew everyone's mind, including Eric Clapton's mind. Like someone like me who really only knows Tiny Tim via that one song, I'm going, what the hell are you on about? But obviously there's other stuff there because people who are quite smart and creatively, you know, amazing people were really enamored with who Tiny Tim was and what he made, etc.
Mm, mm.
So they became over, like I'm shortening the story here, but they became quite good friends, Martin Sharp and Tiny Tim. And Tiny Tim came over to Australia a lot because of Martin. Martin would bring him, and Martin wanted to do something with Tiny and the opera and the Luna Park. And so he said, let's do the world record attempt at singing, like singing nonstop. And we'll do it at Luna Park. And Luna Park's saying that's right up our alley. So there was all of this stuff. And Martin Sharp wanted to document it. So he filmed the whole thing and blah, blah, blah. And it was like only a week or a month later that there was the ghost train fire at Luna Park, where I think it was 6 children and an adult died. And there so the stories are that there were lots of people saying that's a death trap and no one ever wanted to fix it. And what caused the fire? Oh, it was an electrical fault. And it's like, well, that's never been proven. And then the conspiracy deepens with the police were in on it. And not only that, but the Premier of New South Wales was in on it, never ran. So it goes really deep. So that really changed him. The fact that this place that he loves and people died there, but more than that, the fact that he had set up the place and invited these children in. He felt like he had invited people come to Luna Park, have a good day, and now somebody's died, and he
Yeah.
felt responsible, personally responsible for it. So I don't know how much of this is like how religious he was before this. But in everything that I've watched and read, the talk about spirituality kind of starts to happen after this.
Right. Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that.
So he actually talks about, it was kind of like he felt like God was talking to him or was talking through the fire and kind of like I said, he was taking the responsibility on his shoulders. He made this big laughing clown, inviting everybody in. So Martin Sharp, kind of, especially as he got older, was just continued to worry about this. One of the surviving children from the fire lived in the house that I visited on Saturday for 40 years. For free because Martin just felt responsible and said, "You can live here."
Yeah.
And there's a part of the Bible, the Christian Bible, where they talk about Moloch, the god Moloch, or
Yeah.
which, like, if to invoke Dave Sim and his term comics metaphysics, when I look up Moloch, it's basically Baal, which is the cow god, and I'm going, oh shit, this is starting to get a little bit too close to home. And there's this thing called the mouth of Moloch, which is this huge gaping maw. Doesn't look like Luna Park, but it's as big as the gaping maw of Luna Park, where you send children to sacrifice in the fires of hell. And like all of these connections are happening in Martin Sharp's head.
Freaky.
So you can imagine, yeah, you can imagine that if he was doing the kind of drugs in the UK and Australia that people were probably doing, LSD and stuff, that there were probably rewiring in his brain happening, and then you start to make you live through something in the way that Martin did, and he didn't live through it like the other people who are survivors of the fire, but
Yeah.
we're talking about Martin. You live through it like Martin did, and you start making these connections and feel this guilt and responsibility, and it's like, so it was pretty full on for Martin.
Mm.
So yeah, really interesting kind of story. Didn't stop him from creating. He's been creating ever since and making beautiful art. And Yeah, so he's a really, really interesting personality
Mm.
from Australian art, but also Australian comics and cartooning. His cartoons from especially back in the day of Oz magazine kind of felt like Tandberg, and I don't know if Tandberg was contemporary to him at that time,
He's been around for a
but
while.
also yeah, 70s definitely. So probably 60s as well. So like, but there's like Tandberg through via like Ronald Searle. Like they're just crazy and manic, and obviously all dip pen and beautiful kind of scratchy line work, but very kind of this was cartoon stuff. And then you look at his printmaking stuff, is poster work, and it's really lovely illustration work. He did a lot of collage and all of that.
Did you take
Um,
Annabelle to this event?
Well, so do you want to hear the comic book metaphysics here, the connections that happened, right? So
Go right
Annabelle
ahead.
Annabelle has a group of friends that she hangs out with often at her local, and they're almost all like involved in art in some manner, right? So so one of those friends, she's telling them how she's building a studio in our garage. So she's got a studio here, right? And I want these movable walls so I can hang my work up, take photos, but I can move them out of the way, put things behind, blah blah blah. And one of her mates, Craig, says, "Oh, I can build those. Like, yeah, don't pay that guy to do it. You and I will build them together." So this guy Craig comes over, and he makes these beautiful sculptures again with a pop art influence. I should give you his full name and you can put it in the notes or something. I don't know. And he's showing me photos, and I said, yes, I saw that last year in the is it the Selman Prize, which goes at the same time as the Archibald, but for sculpture. So he's had sculptures in the Art Gallery of New South Wales at the highest level, and it's like a weird Mickey Mousey sort of thing with a big hole through it, and is like sexually charged and whatnot. So he's here building stuff in my backyard. Annabelle says, "Give him some comics, because if he's ever had any, he doesn't have them now." So I give him a collection of Greener Pastures. And Annabelle says, and actually, there's this other guy at the pub, Eddie, who tells me the story when he realized that you were my dad. He tells me the story about how he used to trace the front cover of Greener Pastures #1, that eyeball on the front cover, and how he would trace it again and again and again, and he just loved that,
Wow.
the glint in the eye. And
Yeah.
and I said, well, does he have any comics? She said, oh, he wouldn't have any anymore. So I said, he'd give him some comics as well. So I gave her these. I don't know who Eddie is. So Eddie So Annabelle texts me and says, "We're going to Martin Sharp's house tomorrow. They're doing the auction open house. Do you want to come?" I'm going, "Oh shit, yeah, I didn't know about that. Let's go." Um, and she said, "My mate Eddie will be there." I go, "Okay, cool. I get to meet Eddie, who used to trace the eyes." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Well, Eddie is actually Martin Sharp's second cousin, and he's one of the three people on the board who is organising the estate for auction. And he basically took us on a personal tour of the
Wow.
house and pointed to things and told us stories. Some of which I can't tell you, right? Because they're really personal
Yeah.
family things that happened. But he said, I've always loved Uncle Martin. He calls him Uncle, but he's like a cousin twice removed. So Eddie's like a little bit younger than us, like maybe 40s, I guess.
So
Um,
very, very young. Very, very young.
very, very young. Well, Martin was like 70 something when he passed away about
Right.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
He said, I always loved Uncle Martin, but as he got near the end of his life, I spent a lot of time here with him and helped look after him and blah, blah, blah. So he was telling us stories about, this is the room that we basically lived in at the last few years of his life. He sat at this table, it's still here, you can buy the table, and did most of his artwork. And he would sleep on the day bed here when he got tired, and then he'd get back up and do some more work. And he said all of the work that's for sale was up there. And, it's like an old, I don't know, it would be Edwardian house, but like 12-foot tall ceilings. So
Yeah.
there's a lovely picture rail, and above the picture rail you can see the cream colored paint, but you can see all the marks of where all of the artwork had been that they've just taken down to start the auction. And I'm going like it was at that point that I started to get pretty overwhelmed. It was pretty overwhelming to be in the house, and to get these personal stories. It was
Well, it looked
just,
like a
and Eddie
pretty
was.
it looked like a pretty huge house as well. Like,
It was enormous, and Eddie was so giving, and then we'd go out into the backyard and have a sit for a little while, and he'd have a dart, and we'd have a chat, and then we'd go back in and look at some more things, um, and yeah, so there's the connections. Annabelle drinks, maybe once a week with Eddie, and Eddie's, I've realised now, used to do the mix on ABC TV, which was the arts program.
right.
So he's a journalist and an artist himself, and all this stuff, and a lovely man. We got on so well. And he went, "Oh, and thank you for the comics." And he started to talk about the tracing again. I'm going, "Oh man, I can't believe these connections."
Yeah, wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a pretty astounding day in that way.
That
And
is a great story.
downstairs in his house was where they had all of the collections, right?
Yeah.
All of his knickknacks and whatnot. Upstairs was mostly still was pretty bare, but had furniture in there that you could buy. So there was probably it must have been like 100-year-old writing table. And then Annabelle goes, "Oh my God, look at this beautiful writing table." And we're looking at it, and there's only like this much space to write. And I said, "Yeah, that's because," and you grab the two handles and you pull it out. And she's going, "Oh, it extends." I'm going, "Yeah, yeah, but wait," because it's got that beautiful leather section, where you're supposed to write over the leather inlay. And there's a little notch in it. And, you put your finger in the notch and you pull that up and it comes up like a little drawing. And you go, "Oh my God, it's a drawing table." And then we put it all away and brought the cover down. So not one of those ones that's in slats, or whatever,
Yeah.
but one piece of curved wood, like a beautiful piece of curved wood, and it just worked beautifully as if it was made yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're going, wow. So all of this stuff is for sale right now. It
Wow.
wasn't free to get into. You had to buy a catalog to get in, and the catalog was how much do you reckon this catalog is? Full color. Look how many pages.
$65.
$10. So they
Oh,
were saying, "Please buy a catalog if you want to come in." I'm going, far out. I was going to buy a catalog anyway, and I was willing to spend a lot of money on it. That was a $10 catalog. So
wow.
everything's in there from his
Yeah,
collection,
wow. Oh,
all
they're
ready for
amazing.
sale.
How much
You
would one
know.
of those clown faces go for with the
So
ping
that's the
pong balls
thing.
that go in?
Yeah, so that's like they're like, are they salt and pepper shakers or something in the shape of the turning clown heads
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Luna Park, and unfortunately you don't buy single ones. You have to almost everything is in groups. Like there's a bunch of really old games, right? Board games, and you can't buy one. You have to buy the lot. Um, so it just puts everything outside my price range. So those what are they? Oh, they're ashtrays. They're novelty ashtrays, but there were salt and pepper shaker versions as well.
Right.
Um, so
Wow.
they reckon they'll go from $200 to $400 for the set, which is actually really, like, I would think, incredibly reasonable. Um, so so yeah. So his pop culture stuff. He obviously had a obsession with Ginger Megs because he had quite a lot of Ginger Meg stuff.
Mm, not
He had an
surprising.
obsession with Mickey Mouse. He had a lot of Mickey Mouse stuff. Really interestingly, he had an obsession with Crazy Cat and Ignatz. So he
Yeah.
had like I reckon 100-year-old Crazy Cat merchandise. And Eddie's saying, like, pointing to this Ignatz mask, right? Ignatz is the mouse, yeah. So
Crazy
an
Cat and Ignatz, yes.
Yeah, so a mask of Ignatz, right? Looks like it's made out of paper mache. And they're saying in the catalog, merchandising masks, blah, blah, blah. And Eddie points to it and he says, "That's not merchandising. Martin probably made that, probably made it from scratch. So not only are you getting like an Ignatz mask, but it was probably made by Martin himself." Um, just trying to see if there's a couple of
Yeah.
pictures in here worth looking at. He
Oh,
he liked Buffhead as
yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
Australian comic book character Buffhead. But those that I've just showed you, they're actually made by Peter Kingston, who's another Australian artist who was good friends with Kingston and Shed. Gary Shed seem to be two of his main friends in the art world. Well, let me see if I can find some of his collection.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty
yeah,
bloody jealous.
so
That would be my way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, it was astounding. It was really astounding, and it was overwhelming. Even just talking to Eddie and talking to other people, other strangers there. So that I know it's hard to see, but that is like a dinner
Yeah,
jacket,
yeah.
handmade by Martin Sharp for Tiny Tim, and it's made out of comic book, images from comic books,
Imagery. Yeah.
and it's like $400. Like it's not going to go for $400. Surely it's going to go for 1,000,
So all these things are starting bids, are they?
Well, that's what Annabelle said. She said they're probably starting bids, but I've seen on their online auction, because you can go online, but it'll be over by the time we put this to air, um, that they definitely started lower, because there was something I was looking at which was pretty cheap. But there's the masks.
Yeah, wow.
Even that's some
Yeah,
crazy
beautiful.
masks.
Yeah. Crazy. And Ignat's there.
Amongst all the other. Yeah, what does it say there? It says collection of humorous masks comprising two handmade masks of Disney iconography. Well, that's not right. Nine masks of circus-inspired imagery. They have some masks, some marks. 100 to 200 is what they reckon that whole set will go for.
Wow.
Surely it'll go for more than that. But I was looking at this book, right? That's the cover of the book.
Yep.
And it's number 6 of 12. And it's called The Sharpest Knife in the Drawer, in the drawer. Um, and it was made by Peter Kingston on the passing of Martin Sharp. So it's all these lovely reminiscences in there. And it's actually got it reckons it'll go for 50 to 100. And I'm going, well, shit, that I could buy a book for $50. On the auction at the moment, it's already at nearly 200. So I'm out of the bidding already. But yeah,
Yeah.
amazing stuff. Ginger Meg's collection.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'll all get snapped up.
So that's
Yeah.
2 unpainted ceramics, 1 hand painted ceramic, 1 Ginger Meg's his girlfriend figure set on base, 1 standing, blah blah blah, 3 to 500. A coin box, a
Wow.
wooden coin box.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and you couldn't see it all. There was so much stuff, and then he's got like super modern Astro Boy stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I did see. It's not like he had a lot of Pokemon, but I did see a Pokemon in a cabinet. And he said, but he was into stuff, and people would just bring him gifts. So maybe he didn't buy that, but maybe somebody brought it and thought, Martin would love to see this, But look at how old some of the Mickey Mouse stuff is, like stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, amazing. Yeah, it was an amazing afternoon.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this was definitely made by Martin. That crazy cat that's lost its ears was definitely made by Martin. So yeah, super good day, and so grateful to Eddie for spending time with us. So grateful for the family for allowing an open call to the auction to come and look. And I was kind of prepared for that to be the record, the auction book. But Eddie said that they're working on a book to document it all.
Nice. Yeah.
So they kind of call it a museum of dreams, that he had made himself. So yeah. So that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And it was down at, like you said, Bellevue Hill. And on the walk back to the car, we passed the Waverley Gallery. So that must be is it Waverley? Willara, the Willara Gallery. We passed the Willara Gallery.
Yeah.
And it's called Willara Gallery at Redleaf. So it's down near the Redleaf little bay there. And they had a couple more pieces of Sharp's work in there just by coincidence in their current group exhibition. So we went in and had a look at a couple more bits and pieces. But also the big thing there, so another connection, the room in the Willara Gallery at Redleaf that had 4 pieces of Martin Sharp work. The next exhibition that they have in that room is going to be Annabelle's work. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is like outrageous. So yeah, she's been talking to the Willara Gallery for months, it seems. So it's a group show because there's a number of rooms, but they keep on talking about giving her the big room, and that looks like it's probably the big room. So,
right. Yeah.
So that's in a few months' time. And I'm going, Anne-Marie made that connection. She's going, you're going to replace Martin Sharp in this room. And it's like crazy. So yeah, so
No, that's
it's
spooky. Yeah.
huge day, huge day. And then we came home, Annabelle and Anne-Marie and I came home, got changed and went out to the Rudy Hill RSL, which doesn't exist anymore. It's whatever it's called out there, HQ West or something, to the Coliseum to watch the Whitlams do their symphonic show again.
Right. Okay. You
Really
McEwens, you get
incredible
around.
Saturday.
God.
We do. We do try to.
Yeah.
Then we got up on Sunday morning, went to a local market and had egg and bacon roll and donuts with Mark Sexton. So it's been a huge weekend.
La-di-da.
Yeah. It was been a beautiful time. And then Nick came over last night. Nick, who directed the Greener Pastures short film. So
How's Nick going?
he's good. Yeah, yeah. He's working on where he works at Finn Design, is that what it's called? Where they do the VFX. He's working on the Godzilla versus Kong film and the next Sonic the Hedgehog film, and yeah, so yeah,
Easy.
yeah,
Yes.
and he's writing a couple of scripts. He's about to go and shoot in June or July another proof of concept for someone, and
Right.
so he's got lots going on. I'll tell you more about him when his stuff is closer, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, that's a lot to take in. I'm extremely
It
jealous.
was.
That would have been amazing, almost worthwhile flying up for the day.
Oh man, and I hadn't even heard of it. If it wasn't because Annabelle brought it up like maybe a week or two earlier as well, and said, "Oh, we might be going to Martin Sharp's house." And I'm thinking, "Oh, she must know someone who is just gonna be there for something and
Yeah.
knows that I'd be interested." I didn't know that this is what it was going to be until the morning where she said, "So we're going tomorrow because of the auction." And I started looking up the auction. I'm going, "This is going to be incredible."
Do you think part of the plan is to actually sell the house afterwards as well, or is it going to be made into a museum? Or
No, I think I don't want to talk out of school, but I don't think everyone's happy with the fact that the house has to be sold. But the house has to be sold.
right?
So yeah, the house is up for sale. And the news report, I think I sent you the link for the news report, said that the house is worth $33 million. And it's like, is there somebody who's got enough money? Because it's pretty run down as well. Like it absolutely have to be completely repainted, and it's a big house. Um, so yeah, that's going to be sold. But it's the family house, and I think he'd be at least the third generation there. Maybe there was a generation after him, but he was an only child and didn't have children himself, so he has no heirs. But his grandfather either bought it or built it. I'm not sure, but his grandfather made his money by designing and building the Red Rattler trains in Sydney.
Wow.
So it's like it's so Sydney, the whole thing. You're there in Wallara, Bellevue Hill, and yeah. And again, people may not recognize the work, but if you think of what the Festival of Sydney looked like, the original kind of design work. If you think of Circus Oz, the original kind of designs for that. And I'm going, I actually had that Circus Oz image on the wall there on my t-shirt after I went and saw Circus Oz for the first time because I thought Circus Oz was so cool. I had no idea it was Martin Sharp, and wore that t-shirt.
Wasn't there an image of the Opera House, but as a Harlequin's hat, where it had little bell dingle dangles off the points of?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was him. He did a Tiny Tim in the shape of the Opera House, which was really cool.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, he's extraordinarily Sydney kind of oriented, and a lot of what Australian design and illustration imagery kind of looked like, I think, really came from him in that 70s period, 70s maybe to 80s period, I guess.
The only one that could claim some of that space in a similar way is Ken Dunn.
Yeah, and I reckon Ken Dunn is a bit of a successor to him in the way that Ken kind of picked up a banner and moved on, moved along from there kind of thing. So he's definitely worth looking into and getting yourself acquainted with Kiddies at Home, as a piece of really interesting Australian comic book, comic strip, cartooning, art, design, history.
Yeah, indeed. Wow. Yeah. Sydney, back in the day.
Absolutely. And it's nice to have a Sydney artist who's like of that level. So many of them seem to come from Melbourne, and so it was great.
Okay.
I'll send you some photos. You can pop them up in between.
Yep. Cool. That'd be good. Segueing to a whole new subject. Have you noticed how Death Roll is going on Kickstarter?
Yeah, really well.
Crapping it in.
What's he at this morning?
It's something like 450%.
Brilliant.
Yeah, like lots.
What is it? Is it how many thousand? I don't know.
It's getting close to 20,000.
I was going to say 20. I'm going, is that right? Am I right with that?
And it's still got like 26 days to go or something like that. So
I was only a few days in.
Yeah. So it's been pretty amazing. Last week we sort of gave a bit of a nudge for Death Roll as a new Kickstarter campaign by Levi Kleeman, a Western Australian boy. And it seems to be going really well. So
he's just kicked over 20,000 as of this record.
I didn't realise we were so powerful in our recommendations.
That's all us.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm keen as. And he's doing a raffle. He's giving away some enormous, great piece of original artwork from the book to somebody who's a physical backer of the book. So
right, okay,
that'd be amazing.
So, more power to us and our ability to reach into the pop culture headspace and make such a success of someone's, loser Kickstarter campaign.
Exactly.
Who's obviously going to struggle. But then we come along and go, like, hey, give him a bit of a look. Give him a bit of a nudge.
You reckon that'll work for me the next time I have a Kickstarter? You reckon I'll get to 20 grand?
Yeah, of course.
On the power of Club Domingo?
Yep.
How could it not?
How could it not? I'm saying that with a straight face.
Yeah, exactly. Very good.
Anyway,
what else you got on your list?
It's time for tea and toast. That's our new section title. So it's time for tea and toast. But the problem is I don't have what we're going to be talking about for the segment. So it's a segment. It's got a title, but it's got no content. We'll just sit quietly. For
a bit like your head.
And just imagine what you will. Time for tea and toast.
Meditate with your own pinky out, everybody. Have some tea and toast.
Okay, that'll do. Next.
All right.
So
while I invoked, I'll get back to you because we're gonna segue. I invoked the name of Ginger Meggs a little bit earlier, and we all know Jason Chatfield was the last person to draw the Ginger Meggs strip on
it was his fault,
an ongoing basis. It was his fault. It wasn't his fault. And he's now in New York, but he's been nominated for an NCS Reuben Award, the National Cartooning Society. So I thought that's a pretty big deal to have your book. So it's a book that he co-wrote and illustrated about dogs.
Yep.
Right. You're not a true dog owner until you have ... So the book is full of, until you've drunk out of the toilet with your dog or something. They can do that one in the sequel. They probably don't have that one. So congratulations to him for being nominated for that.
And he works so hard. He works so hard.
Yeah.
So it's good seeing hard work rewarded. More power to him.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd slip that in there while we still have Ginger Meggs on the brain.
Very cool. I might edit that out. Don't go slipping things in. This is a tight production we've got going here.
True.
Little comment then would have sent us over by about 3 minutes.
Oh, no. Well, we've been going for a while already. Have you got stuff you wanted to talk about?
No, not really. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say was I segue to movies. I know we're not a movie show, but I sat down and watched SBS On Demand, had the first 3 John Wick films on there. And I'd never seen any of the John Wick films.
I've never seen them.
Neither had I. And so I sat down and thought, I've heard some good things about at least John Wick 3 and 4 or whatever, some of the later ones. I thought, I'll sit down and see what the fuss is all about, seeing as how it's free. So on the weekend, I watched the first movie, which I quite enjoyed as far as an action film with lots of kung fu and fight scenes and stuff like that. It set up the formula. It set up the world. It did quite a good job. And then you get to number 2 and it's like, what the actual fuck is going on here? And then
Okay.
it's number 3, and it's like, I'm wasting my time. This thing doesn't end. It like not. It just doesn't end.
Right.
So I think they should have stopped at John Wick number 1, and number 2 and 3 and 4 and whatever other spin-offs. Oh my God. Talk about
Okay. So week one is good. Week two is like you think it's superfluous, didn't need to exist.
didn't need to exist at all.
Okay.
And what it does, it sort of picks up after the first one leaves off, and then
Yeah.
at the end is a cliffhanger as well, where you think, okay, well, I'll get the third one in to see whether it actually picks up. It picks up straight afterwards, and it's just more of the same. Like I was sitting there looking at these amazing fight scenes where the shtick of it is that Keanu Reeves loves the choreography with guns and weaponry, and
Yeah.
so that there's a style about the fights that are pretty much the same. You know, like he's using a bullet and a gun like a fist, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
close fighting where it's like bang, 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 twist around, bang, 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 using someone else's their own gun against them, bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang, and
Yeah.
like everyone's firing these guns that are totally missing John Wick, but he's getting every single one in like a ninja, you know. And the setup for these fights are just it goes on and on and on and on, and then you're introduced to a baddie who's, now it's my turn to fight John Wick. It is an honor John Wick, and then they fight, and John Wick wins, and it's on to the next one, and then another baddie is introduced, and it's like, you know, I will get John Wick. There's no way that anyone else will be able to defeat him. I will defeat him, and then John Wick just defeats him and gets on to the next thing, and you're just getting bloodier and bloodier and more messed up, you know, and he's defying the logic of healthcare as far as bullet wounds. And there was actually one stage where this isn't a spoiler, but he gets a suit made from his bulletproof so that people can start firing at him, but he holds his jacket up like a cape, you know, to stop the gunfire. My wings are like a shield of steel.
That's the one.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, I should not have watched them in a row.
Right.
That was the disservice, you know. Like the first one sets up the choreography in the world. The second one just continues it, and the third one just continues it in a bad way. And
oh no.
Yeah.
Did you do them all in one day?
Pretty much.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's
in fact,
a lot.
I'd seen the first one a couple of weeks back, and I remembered that the first 3 were on SBS On Demand, and so I saw number 2 and number 3 together, but number 1 was quite fresh in my brain as that's quite neat. I can see what all the fuss is about. Yeah, you know, so many sequels and stuff, but I didn't realize how repetitive,
right,
in a bad way, number 2 and number 3 was.
Okay.
And the third one,
it's giving the audience what they want, which is more of the same.
Yeah. It's such a product of modern viewing now that I walked away just very disappointed with Hollywood.
No, I've always wanted to watch them, and now I'm not sure that I should.
I would recommend seeing John Wick 1.
Right.
But, the others, for me, for my value for money, which was free on SBS On Demand, I was very disappointed that I wanted my money back.
Because they've got a spin-off sequel with a female lead.
Yeah.
And I think there's another one in the works for him as well.
I think there's a TV series called The Continental, which is the hotel where a lot of this action takes place. The premise I can totally find as a fantasy, you know, not science fiction, but the Guild of Assassins kind of story in modern day life. I can see all that set up in the first one was totally fine. It gets to the stage where, this is spoiler material, but gets to a stage where there's a lot of assassins coming out of the woodwork to get John Wick. And he's walking through New York, and fucking everyone is looking at him, because there's a timing element where, you know, there's a contract out where it's open to get John Wick and you get so much money and blah, blah, blah. And, they're counting the clock down to midnight when the contract is open, and everyone on the street is looking at him as if to say, 5 more minutes, John Wick, and I'm going to kill you, you know. And it's like, how many assassins are there in the world? I mean, come on. But everyone, you know, you're walking past a set of school kids and a little 6-year-olds going, I'm going to get you, John Wick. And, you know, baby looking out of a pram with a gun. And it wasn't that bad. But
We're
everyone,
close to it.
everyone's a bloody assassin, and yeah. Anyway,
Cool. I'm still pretty keen to see them. It sounds like fun.
okay, next.
Okay.
No, I got nothing else. Actually, I got nothing else.
Well, I'm gonna give the kiddies at home a bit of a download of Reimena Yee's upcoming things. So Reimena, based in, is it Melbourne and Singapore? I think it is.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Uh, and they're going to be on several like free to air like web things. I think mostly through um, uh, the what is the Cartoonist Co-op? The you know that Cartoonist Co-op, the International Cartoonist Co-op. You've never heard of that?
No.
Oh, and they're not really a union, but they're trying to be something like a union for us, and to to look at working conditions and how much we get
Ah,
paid
right.
and
Yeah. Oh, good
stuff like
idea.
that. So
What's
is
that?
it?
Get paid?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're doing their second, I think it's the second annual survey of how much work you do, when do you get paid, what kind
Yeah.
of pay do you get, how often do you not, work
Yeah.
for pay,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So they're not being uh what's the word there? They're being realistic about what it means to be a cartoonist, and that there are some professionals and the rest of us are not, and as in we don't get paid for all the work we do. So interesting. But they do a like a festival, an online festival, and I think again this is their second year of doing it. So Reimena is in one of those.
What country is this based in? The
US, I think.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and it, like. Yeah, so I haven't joined. I think you can join for free, but you can also join at a different level for money. But also you can join for free as long as you donate some time and do some of the work for whatever. And so it looks like a really interesting thing. I kind of wish I had time to get more involved, but it's again it's one of those things that's right that if I'm involved with that, then I'm not at the drawing board. And so yeah. Um, so I think at least one of these things I'm talking about is involved with that, but not all of these. I've copied and pasted these off Reimena's website or her email, and now I'm forgetting whether or not they all were related or not. But they're doing like three mostly academic talks, not by themselves, but with other people. So on May 11, as part of the Institute of Classical Studies, Reimena's talking about becoming a death doula for the Alexander romance. So they're currently doing an Alexander the Great graphic novel.
Hmm.
And a death doula, which I had to look up, is somebody who helps to quieten the spirits of the dead, or they help move you along. So I think Reimena feels like they're kind of in that space, trying to finally put Alexander to bed with the romance aspect of it.
Bella's expressed interest in learning about being a death doula, like
Really?
yeah, like helping people achieve the best outcome for their end of life experience.
Yeah, right. Yeah, interesting.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a hard thing.
yeah.
Um, so if any of this
Tontine
interests,
pillow over the face.
depending on who it is.
What do they call that? A tontine. There's a slang term for it when you use a
Wow.
tontine. Yeah, anyway, I'll have to
Okay.
have to look it up.
So I'm going to tell you three of these three things. That's one of them. If any of them interest you, you should look up Reimena's website and get on their mailing list, and that'll sort you out. So May 16, Making History, a panel on historical fiction webcomics, with two other artists as well, because Reimena does a lot of historical fiction. And May 30, doing the study of comics in academia and beyond. So part of Reimena's website, if you click on a certain part at the top, takes you to kind of a sub-site where they're basically cataloging all of the aspects of comics that are in comics. So easy things are like a panel, a word balloon, lettering, different types of word balloons, different types of lettering, different types of panels, but heaps and heaps of really deep stuff, and just trying to catalog everything that there is to do. So it's a really interesting little sub-site that Reimena's got there. But this one that they're doing, making the study of comics in academia and beyond, is going to be with Scott McLeod from Understanding Comics, Dr. Neil Kahn from a book, I guess, called Speaking in Pictures, and Nick Susanis from, I think, is it a book or a comic called Unflattening. So yeah, like they're going to be in your face several times in May, and always got something really interesting to say. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
I thought it was well organized having all of that here in my notes, but then I realized I didn't know where these notes were coming from. So anyway, if you're interested, go to the website.
It could be full of shit, McEwen.
Yeah, it could be more often than not am.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, I think you've talked a lot today.
Yeah. Let's put a full
pin
stop
in
in it.
And put a dagger in it. And what do we generally say to all the kids?
More comics more often. If you don't do it, no one will do it.
No, cancel that.
Here we go.
That's better. I pressed the right button. What do we say? What do we say to all the kids? Get amongst it, Chal.
Get amongst it, Chal. Get more comics more often.
Bye.